Hello, Sammi, and welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad that you are here.
Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. All right. You've got lots happening and you
I
are a very successful woman. I would love you to tell my audience, for those that do not know who you are, Sammi Jaeger, who
Yeah,
you are and what you do.
I do. I am. Thank you. So, Sammi Jaeger, I have stepped into identity of entrepreneur, multi-passionate entrepreneur. I am a co-founder. I'm an integrator. I'm a coach. I'm a speaker. I'm an author in the making. I'm hoping to get published in 2024. And co-host of the Date Forever podcast. And I love talking to people about how they can make their life and their business even better.
Cool. So, on that note, tell us about the Fueled Up Life and the Fueled Up Life methodology and
So,
how this helps. Because obviously, small business owners are my number one audience. So,
yeah.
how does what you've done help somebody like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the reason that I came about the Fueled Up Life methodology, which I'll share a little bit more about, but it was born out of a place of me hitting burnout. In my late 20s, I was working for a training and education company, and their entire client base was small business owners, we were teaching education to small business owners, and I got to see front row just how hard it can be, and how so many people can go all in on their business and one area of their life, and that end up really costing them in a lot of other areas of their life, whether or not that's their relationship with themselves and their identity. And they become such and such lawyer, and they can't delineate from their professional business or career or identity and who they really are, or their romantic relationship, or their relationship with their kids, or their friendships, or their health and well-being. So in late 20 or it in early 2019, I quit my big girl job, general manager at that company, with no real plan, and I was exhausted. I was burnt out. I was probably sounding a lot like a lot of our clients. Um, but not with no skin in the game. I was an employee, and I'd really sort of run myself dry in a lot of the tanks of my life. And my beautiful husband and I spent a couple of months in Europe across 2019, and I really just kind of didn't know what life was going to look like or what it was going to be like. I'd foreseen myself being at that company for at least the next 5 years, if not longer. And that I had felt like there was a lot of runway for me to grow. And then all of a sudden I hit a wall where I was like, I can't keep doing this. So I spent some time while overseas, really just kind of grieving about what I thought my life was going to look like, that I had sort of created this situation, and this was my life, and like how was I here. And it really gave me a chance to just stop blaming other people, stop excusing the reality that was, denying like what had happened or what I was going to have to do to sort of start to rebuild. But I knew that not that I don't want it to look anything like that. And I started to think far more consciously and intentionally about what I wanted my entire life to look like, not just my career and my business. So that was the beginning of knowing that I needed a better way to design my life. I'd always been a goal setter, always been very ambitious and directed, I guess, but I'd sort of forgotten about lots of other areas of my life. So I got home from that trip, and I sat down and I went back through all of the notes that from my previous years of goal setting and planning, and realized that, hey, there's probably about 8 different areas here of my life where I've sort of thought about setting goals, and most years I've not set goals in all areas, but just some. So I just got a bit curious about, well, what would happen if I got a bit more intentional about adding energy or fuel or direction to all of these areas of my life, not just one. So I really went about starting by rebuilding my relationship with myself. And then it kind of flowed from there.
I feel like not many people know how to build a relationship with themselves.
Yeah.
I feel like when you get that mix right, like the relationship with yourself, and, you know, you're married and building a relationship with yourself, you know, like you don't hear that really come out of people's mouths. And it's like, I feel the relationship with yourself is so important before you can have a relationship with a business that you're starting, or your husband, or, you know, the rest of your family. The way that you like exert energy, like sports or walking or whatever that looks like for you, like it's just like, yeah, it's really, really important. And so from that, did your married life get like, you know, you obviously you work on one thing, and then, you know, when that looks nice and you start to rebuild that, it's like, you know, you've got the Date Forever podcast, and let's just say the co-host of your podcast is your husband.
It is, yes.
The
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. I think,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, there was a few questions in there,
I
but
know, sorry.
yeah, no, I'm like, where do I start to
Hang
answer that?
on. Yes.
So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I agree. Lots of people don't ever get introspective about um who they are, what they like, and to get really curious about how they show up in the world. So that's kind of what I did. Like I was saying, with that I'd observed clients wrap up their identity in their business. I had done the same. I really felt like when I left that job and I left that business, like it felt like cutting off a limb. Like I really didn't know who I was or where to go from there. And it was so hard to imagine a future that wasn't what I'd been working so hard towards. But over those few years where I'd been pouring so much time, money, and energy into my personal and professional development so that I could succeed in that arena, the gap between myself and my husband had changed. It had shifted. I'd gone really hard on an incredible growth trajectory. I think I did about like a decade's worth of growing in those probably 3 or 4 years. And that was scary, like to think, oh my gosh, this person that I want to do life with for forever, what if we grow apart? But I also don't want to stop growing because I really like who I'm becoming. So yeah, that was really scary. But as I started to get far more intentional about pouring more fuel back into my relationship with myself and my marriage, yeah, it drastically did change. And we have gone on to launch the Date Forever podcast, which we've had for about 3 years now. And we chat with couples and experts about the tips and tricks they've found to keep a relationship fueled up. And it's so beautiful. It's like, we get to go to therapy almost every week with all of these incredible people who are imparting their life lessons, their shortcuts with us. So it absolutely has transformed our marriage and our relationship.
That's beautiful. So what about the rest of so let's talk about Sammi Jaeger now, the brand.
Yeah.
Tell everyone, what does that look like? What's in this?
Yeah, so I offer coaching,
Yeah.
and I'm also about to launch a group coaching program or a membership for women in business who want to get really intentional about not just their business, but the rest of their life. So it's an opportunity to come and learn from a subject matter expert about one of the areas of these different tanks, which I'll share with you, and then also to create some accountability and go, okay, over the next month, which of these tanks need fuel? So maybe that's the next place to start, is just to share a little bit more about each of these 8 different tanks.
Yeah, let's do it. I would love to hear, and I'm sure our listeners would love to hear as well.
Yeah, so the first one is, as you probably can guess, is your self tank. So I believe that my relationship with myself sets the tone for every other relationship that I have. And when that fuel tank is really full, I can show up as a far better human in every other area of my life. The second one is romantic relationships. So for me, that's my marriage. For other people, that might be seeking a partner or building a relationship or looking for something new. The third tank is relationship and network. And that's about recognizing that if I want to go far, I want to go with others. And those relationships don't just happen by default. You really do need to nurture them. The fourth tank is humming household. So for me, that's about recognizing that how my house feels is way more important than it looks, and having great systems and ways of operating in place so that that doesn't become my sole it doesn't suck all of my attention, basically.
Oh, I love this as a pillar
Yeah.
because I feel the same way, and I love listening to how other people make it work without giving their blood.
Managing a household,
Yeah.
there is a lot of moving parts. And if you're not careful, those small little moving parts can take all of your attention, all of your focus, all of your energy, and then you don't have the chance to share your gifts with the world because you're busy managing laundry and ingredients and, you know, whether it's kids logistics or partner logistics or your social calendar or whatever it might be. But having good systems in place to keep that tank full most of the time, mostly full most of the time, is what I try and shoot for.
Yeah.
Then tank number 5, so career and business, and that's about recognizing that opportunities don't just happen, you do need to create them. Wealth and lifestyle, so this is, life doesn't happen by we want to have life happening by design and not by default, and it can swing either way, where you've got maybe lots of the wealth sort of part happening, but it's at the expense of your lifestyle, or maybe the other way around, you have heaps of lifestyle, heaps of freedom, heaps of flexibility, and that the wealth is not aligning to that. And I believe you can have both. So that's wealth and lifestyle tank. Number 7 is the world, so that's about being able to give and give in your unique gifts or your unique point of view or your unique experiences, but also how do you help the world be a better place outside of yourself? What are you contributing to outside of yourself, whether or not it's in your community or your country or the world? And then tank number 8 is the future. So that's about recognizing that the future isn't waiting for us, it's created by us. Like, future Sammi is current Sammi, and what am I doing to take care of her?
I love that. I love those 8. I want to ask you so many questions. So just out of pure selfishness, what are some ideas that you would suggest for like the home tank?
Oh, home tank.
So what
yeah.
I am really like, in my mind, I say, no one's going to care who does the washing. No one's going to care like who cleans the toilet or make sure the floors are like tidy. My kids aren't like sitting there saying, oh, Mum, you did such a good job vacuuming the floor, so it's nice and clean for me. Give me a break. Like
the list of things that need to happen and the mental load, and I'm going to say something super generalized, and super like just not from a diverse mindset, but often it's the woman who's holding all of that mental load, right? And that can be really, really hard. So something that Nathan and I have done in our household that's helped a huge amount is we got familiar with Eve Rodsky. She wrote a book called Fair Play, which is about dividing household tasks. She's got a background in project management. So she kind of went, well, I'm a project manager. I can make all these incredible things happen out in the world. Why is managing my household so hard? And she sort of collaborated with a lot of her friends to sort of figure out, well, why do I feel so exhausted? And, that I've got this long list of things to do, but I can't quite define what it is. So she went about defining what are all of the things that we're holding. So off the back of the book, she created a set of a deck of cards. And that deck of cards, I think it's about 100 cards in the deck. And each card, I've actually got them here on my desk because I use them all the time. I know we're on an audio only medium, but I'm showing Hayley what they look like.
Yeah, no, I will put this on YouTube, and I'll take some snippets as well. Toilet paper.
Yeah, so they range from everything from, having home goods and supplies, and who's cooking and who's managing dry cleaning, who's looking after the groceries, the dishes, cleaning, weekday dinners, who's hosting, what about our lawn and plants, who's taking out the trash, then that you've each got a card for your own self-care. You're grooming, who's nurturing the adult friendships, who's organizing gifts for friends, gifts for family. Yeah, I know. Apparently when you have children, I don't have children.
I'm not even at that stage yet.
Big thing.
Yeah.
Your kids are going to birthday parties. Like,
yeah.
Harry's birthday. Like social plans and outings, travel, keeping your calendar up to date, having an emergency and first aid kit and medicine in the cabinet, and then just money.
Oh gosh.
right? So this is an overwhelming amount of stuff to try and
Yeah.
hold on to. And that's just my those are my cards. Those are not Nathan's cards. That's just my cards, right? So something that we've implemented that has helped us a lot was getting clear on who's accountable for what tasks in this house, and are we happy with who that's sitting with? Are we happy with the amount of tasks that we're holding? And I'm not looking for transactional. I'm not looking for a 50-50. I'll do this and you do that. Like I believe in, a bit of yin and yang and harmony and flow. But that's definitely been one thing that has made our house hum a lot smoother, because there's clarity, and this is not set and forget. This is not play out the cards once. We revisit them almost every week on a Sunday and flick through, and what are the to-dos that sort of come out of those cards, and we might swap them over. So Nathan and I both hate doing laundry, and we're both not good at it. So like that's the one that we like. So we try and swap that one back and forth quite a bit. But it's also recognizing that in a household, there are things that need to happen every day, like cooking and doing the dishes. And then there's things that happen only occasionally, like reviewing your health insurance or managing bills and money that maybe is every couple of days or every week or whatever. And recognizing like who's holding all of the daily grind tasks versus the ones that you can kind of do at your own leisure or when it fits into everything else that you're managing. And again, it's often women who are holding those daily grind tasks. And there's probably like another 30 or 40 cards that relate purely just to children. So that's probably one thing. And then the other for our humming household, something that's really, really helped me a lot is putting almost anything I can find on set and forget subscriptions.
Yes, I do
Toilet
that.
paper, razors, washing powder, coffee beans, like whatever, wine. I like all the things. I have most consumable, replenishable items on set and forget.
Yeah, we are Amazon like all over. So things like nappies and baby wipes, they are on set and forget, and they get delivered. And I don't even think of it. I'm not even the one that organizes it. Mark is the organizer of the Amazon situation. We do lots of gifting. He is the guy. Paper towel, tissues, everything, set and forget. They just turn up. I'm like, oh, this is the best.
Yeah.
So
and how lucky are we that we have access to those things?
So lucky. Yeah. And I feel like for people that are listening, like you're running a business, but you're kind of running too, because you're running your household. And I feel like it doesn't get enough airtime of the amount of time it takes up. Like, why aren't more people doing this subscription model of set and forget with household items?
Yeah.
And, like I have a cleaner, doesn't mean I don't clean. Like I still do stuff. We have someone that takes care of the lawns and It doesn't mean that we don't water the plants sometimes, like, so it's like, it all helps. And then you can spend time like either working on your business to generate more revenue or filling up your cup by going for a walk or getting a massage or something like that. And there's only 7 days in a week.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard.
If you're hustling in that business, which lots of us are, and then you get to the weekend and then it's like second shift of, all right, now we'll just spend the next 2 days trying to reset our house and our life to get prepared for the next 5 days. That's exhausting. That's not necessarily a sustainable habit. And I mean, sometimes deploying resources into your business to outsource a marketing tasks or an automation task or an inbox checking, whether or not it's a virtual assistant or a remote assistant, whatever. But sometimes you'd be equally as beneficial to deploy some of those resources into your home so that when you clock out for the day, you're actually done. You don't then need to go and do grocery shopping or whatever the thing might be. That's probably another really like handy one that helps us a lot is that I've got a Woolworths list set up in my app. And I literally just add the entire list to cart once a month and check out. Super simple. And that's got like toothpaste and like that sort of stuff in it. Tinned goods, rice, pasta, like the things that are non-perishable. It's just rinse and repeat.
Done. We do that too. I have like a Woolies order with quick lists. and go through, open the computer, bang, 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 set a time, gets delivered. It really is a game changer to like getting your time back to actually live your life. And we have everything on like audio, so it's all Google Home stuff with shopping lists, and I just have to sing out and it adds it to the list. I don't even have to do anything. I can keep reading or playing with the kids or like, you know, doing whatever. It's just a game changer. And the more people that know about this, like just anyone, even if you don't have a business, the better it is, because you know, life is quite busy. And I know like back in the day, like when we were younger, for example, there weren't like all of these things really like tapping into our lives. Tech, you know, the internet's only been around for 25 years. There was no, obviously, social media, like mobile phones weren't even around. And so there's none of those life pressures like there are now. So even if you've got a corporate job or you're employed or you run a business, it's like, I think it works for everyone. So what you're offering with your membership course, whatever that looks like for you, is you go across the board, which is a really nice place to play, not just business owners.
Yeah, I think that most of us who are in business or ambitious in our careers and working, we want a really great life, not just a really great business or a really great career. And often we deploy a lot of like time, money, energy to make that business better. But very seldom do we deploy that same energy to having a really great romantic relationship or having our household working perfectly. You know, what would it cost to have a professional organizer come in for a day and reorganize your pantry or whatever it might be that would make your life a lot better, easier, smoother, simpler? We don't tend to do those things. So that's really what the Fueled Up Life is about recognizing when you look at your life holistically and think about all of these different tanks, which one really needs fuel? Is it your business, or do you actually need to clock out and spend some time with your romantic partner, or by yourself, or with some friends, or whatever it might be? Or maybe which tank really needs fuel is for you to sit down with your spreadsheet and take a look at your personal budget, because you spend all the time and money on zero for your business, but you haven't worked that out for your personal life. And really, that's probably why you're in business, so that you can have a beautiful life.
I love how all of this like comes together in such a beautiful way, and that's you're doing from experience and going through it, and you know, like valuing the things that matter to you the most. And now it's lovely for you to be able to take that and teach that to the world. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it really is. And it's just a framework. It's just an idea and a way to look at life. And remember that not everything is always if everything is important, then nothing is sometimes important. So when you can run a little diagnostic over the 8 different areas of your life and go, which one actually needs fuel? Which ones am I actually doing really well at? Which ones am I nailing? That's sitting, you know, close to full, if not overflowing. How great. And sometimes we can get a bit wrapped up that one tank is not where we want it to be and let it railroad everything else, when in reality, what could you do to add more fuel back in?
I love that. So you mentioned one book, but I'm an avid reader. And I listen, I've got the tangible book. I listen to podcasts. I listen to like audio books. I'm just like, get it where I can, because like in the car is a nice place for me to do that. If I'm alone, like it's just lovely. So in terms of other things for personal and professional growth, can you suggest some other books that you think have had the biggest impact on your life and perhaps might help other people too?
Yeah. So the business book that has had the most impact on me was Traction by Gino Wickman. You can probably see a couple copies up on my shelf here.
Is that the black one?
Yeah, the black one with the orange text.
Yep.
And that book is a series of tools and principles for doing business that keep things incredibly simple. It's designed for businesses with teams, but you can still get a lot of benefit out of it, even if you're a solopreneur or yourself and maybe some contractors or whatever. But it just talks about structuring your business in a way that makes it really easy to set and achieve what you want to do in business. That's probably the first business book that's had the most impact. And then the second one that sits adjacent to that is Rocket Fuel, also by Gina Wickman and Mark C. Winters. So Rocket Fuel is about unpacking the idea that for every really phenomenal business in the world, you more than likely need two different types of leaders: the visionary, the person with the big ideas who can see the future, and then an integrator, the person who can see the 100 steps and makes it happen. And when those forces combine, you create Rocket Fuel. And often
Wow.
yeah. So, and then about recognizing that when you're in business, there'll probably come a threshold where you've been one person trying to sit in both seats, and you'll probably be one or the other.
How cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what to I don't know the next thing after that, because it's like you do become like, that is essentially the perfect ingredient for like a wildly successful business.
Yeah. And then a senior leadership team who can hold all of the individual departments and lead with grace too.
Wow. Nice.
You can see from my bookshelf too that I'm also an avid reader. I try and do 2 a month. Anything more than that, and I feel like I'm just knowledge bathing and not really implementing. But 2 a month feels like a good sustainable thing for me. But I've got so many in my Audible library at the moment that I've like started but not finished. So I went on a book buying spree. So I'm a bit the same as you, Hayley.
Yeah.
Love learning, love growing, love evolving.
And also in the background, you have a Buzz Lightyear and Mr. Potato Head.
I do.
I can see.
Yeah, I've got the Toy Story family here. So there's Rex and Jessie, Woody, Bullseye, Mr. Mrs. Potato Head, Ham, Blinky.
We have a Mr. Potato Head, but he doesn't look like that anymore.
He's missing some parts.
He's missing some parts.
Yeah, so these are my friends that have been collected from all of the Disneylands around the world. So they've each come from different places, but yeah, that's absolutely something that fuels me up, and that both myself, Nathan and I do that together. So our romantic relationship, and then also our wealth and lifestyle, like our lifestyle, we design it around making sure that we get to take those trips regularly.
I love that. And I think Disneyland or Universal Studios, whatever that looks like, it definitely like lights a kid fire inside of you and just unleashes so much fun. I've been to Disneyland in Tokyo, or wherever. And I just like, you just want to scream and smile and jump up and down and clap your hands like a 5-year-old. It's the best.
I love all of that. I love the imagination and the immersion and the like totally out of body type of experience that Disney's able to create. But then I also nerd out so hard on the business element about like how do they create an environment where people they don't feel like they're being sold to at all. They're in a buying experience and they just hand over wads of cash for like the craziest things and think nothing of it. So I love Disney as an entity as well, not just the magic and the stories, because I'm a big kid. So yeah, Disneyland is one of my happy places for sure.
Nice. So what's next for Sammi Jaeger and the Fueled Up Life, or just Sammi in general?
Yeah. So, well, as I kind of mentioned right at the beginning, I'm writing my book. So I'm writing the Fueled Up Life and unpacking a little bit more about each of those fuel tanks, why they need to be part of your life, how you can add fuel, what adding fuel looks like for me. And then I'm also launching a membership community really soon. So that's, yes, and I can't wait. It feels so overdue to be curating a group of people who want to have, a really great business, but also a really great life and some accountability around making sure that the rest of life is awesome and you're surrounded by other people who want that too.
Yeah, I have a membership, Superhero Marketing, and I started that because I found there was a gap in the market for business owners with their marketing. They didn't want to invest in a large agency and they didn't know how to do it themselves. And I just had so much goodness sitting like in my files of knowledge that was a disservice for me not to share it. And then the byproduct of that is the community that you build. And it's so lovely. And that didn't even cross my radar, that I could do that. I felt like it was out of reach for me. But, you put one foot in front of the other and you do it.
That's
So
right.
I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to watch it all play out.
Yeah, thank you.
So if people want to connect and follow you and stalk you and get on a wait list to join your membership, how can they do that?
So I've got a little download that you can grab if you want to take a closer look at those tanks. So sammijaeger.com/tank check. So I have a bit of a quirky name. So Sammi is with an I and Jaeger, Jaeger, which I'm sure you'll find in the show notes. But you can find me on all of the social platforms. Instagram is probably where I hang out the most, as Sammi Somewhere. So yeah,
Sammi
come on over.
Somewhere.
And if this episode has sparked something, you've probably been like walking or driving or doing what Hayley's doing when she's consuming audio content, reach out, just send me a little DM. I'd love to chat. Just tell me what resonated, what vibed with you, what tank is overflowing, which one you need help with. Just reach out. I love chatting with people about creating a better world.
Thanks, Sammi. You're a beautiful, genuine, and really lovely human. And I really thank you for taking the time to have a chat with me and whoever is listening. So thanks for having the time and, the space.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.